Welcome back to New Zealand Dairy Farmer. Kenneth and Rachel Short have created an ongoing succession plan with their family that has worked well for all parties. But for Kenneth, stepping into the role after a background in building was a slight challenge.
So when you met Rachel, did you envisage that you'd end up a dairy farmer?
Originally, no, not in hindsight, but definitely I was a builder as first, but it's something I very well enjoyed. But once we had our kids, it's a great way to spend time together as a family, rather than being stuck away for sort of 10, 11 hours a day and then coming home and not seeing the kids. So this way it's a great way to see the kids and spend time as a family. So yes.
You didn't come from a dairy farming background at all?
No, I was brought up in town in New Plymouth, and I did have grandparents that were farming, but it's not really in our family, no.
But you've really got into the lifestyle and the industry?
Yeah, I really enjoy it now. Like, it's just, yeah, as a family and trying to spend time together, it's great, and you can work at the same time.
Do you and Rachel have specific roles on the farm, or do you pretty much pitch in and do most things together?
No, we do have specific roles on the farm. Rachel does most of the sort of day-to-day organising and the milkings, whereas I'm more on the side of the maintenance side of it, like the cropping and the regrassing of the place.
And you find that works well in terms of your particular skills and strengths that you have in the business?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like through Rachel doing a hotel management school, all that feed budgeting comes naturally. It's all built into hospitality. For myself, with my building trade and things like that, I still utilise a lot of my practices on farm.
So when it came to the whole discussion about moving into an equity partnership with your parents, Rachel, how did that get underway?
I think the discussions just kind of started. There was an opportunity there for us to go into equity partnership. But as far as knowing how to go about structures or how to set up the ideals for the equity partnership, we actually sat down with us two, my parents, our lawyer, our accountant and our bank manager. We all sat in the same room together and spoke over different structures and different ways that we could set it up, and then it went from there.
Was it quite easy to work out what was the best structure that suited you, or were there a number of options that you perhaps tested out and decided no, they weren't going to work as well as what you did decide to do?
We looked over like just ordinary partnerships, companies. Then the limited partnership option came up and we all just kind of went with it. It just stood out as the best, most simple structure to go with. It's simple, easy changing of shareholding. At the moment we've got 20% equity in the farm. We're upping to 30% equity next season, and it's just a real simple changeover. All we needed to do was go and revalue the farm and the cows and pretty much sign a few bits of paper, and the changeover was done.
And is that percentage, is that set down that will increase by certain stages, or is that just as it naturally occurs by way of growth of the business?
It was set that we wanted to increase our equity every 3 years. So we're at the 3 years now, and by a minimum of 10%. So this time we're doing 10%, although 2016 we're already looking at another 20% increase to give us the 50% share.
Right, so you can vary those percentages depending on how you feel things are going at that time?
Yes.
Yeah. And when it comes to talking to other younger people in the dairy industry, perhaps your age, do you know many people who've got into similar arrangements, or is this something that they talk about but it's very much in their future?
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about it, wanting to go into equity partnerships, but not quite sure how to go about it. Also in other family farming situations as well. But I mean, the main thing at the end of the day, I think you've got to go through your real professionals, and you've got to find the right structure, and you've got to document everything, and use your land, get somebody in to value the farm and the cows, and use all those market values.
From what you're saying, it sounds as though you had a relatively smooth transition into this new structure. Why is it, do you think, that so many people put off that really important discussion about succession?
I think maybe some people maybe hold on to their land and stuff for a little bit longer. Obviously with farming business it's your home as well, it's not just a business. So maybe people do hold on a little bit too long, or they're not quite too sure how to go about it with families, because you obviously don't want to go to the other extreme and have a family blow apart.
So it's really a case of dealing with those issues in an open way, so that everyone can just sit down around the table and understand where the other people are coming from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that day that we spent way back at the beginning, we're like together with my parents and the lawyer, the accountant and the bank manager, and we just threw everything out on the table, and it just went from there as open discussion.
Kenneth, how's it been for you coming in from the outside, if you like, to be running the farming business and working within this family structure?
Yeah, it has been challenging at times, but as long as you've got the right people, it does all flow quite easily, and it does make the transition for me personally quite easy to sort of get into the perspective of what needs to be done and learn.
With the drought this year, has that meant that you've had to have special meetings or more frequent meetings in order to discuss strategies to counter some of those effects?
Not for us personally. I think our biggest advantage is being such a low input system. Running that system actually keeps our costs so low that we still get affected by the drought, but it's probably not as a bigger impact as the high input.
And what about the future? Have you got other management plans that perhaps you're toying with at the moment that you'd maybe like to see in place by 2020, as you said?
At this stage, for us, it's more just looking at this stage, like really protecting our core business and just really getting that set up well and established. And then once we get to that sort of 50-50 stage of ownership, there might be other options that we sort of might look at.
Has the relationship with your equity partners altered through having this arrangement with them when it comes to your family relationship?
No, not at the end of the day. I think with they're still Granny and Papa to our kids, and you know, they're still Mum and Dad at the end of the day, and we have times that are not about farm as well.
But it is hard to sort of not talk about business when you are together. We do get pulled up on that quite often.
Next week on New Zealand Dairy Farmer, we're sticking around in Taranaki to talk to Blue Reid, a Fonterra director and chair of the Cooperatives Association. We'll also talk to Sir Henry van der Hayden about governance and getting involved in the dairy industry. It's our final show, so we hope to see you then. New Zealand Dairy Farmer is proudly brought to you by Hanson Products, providing Kiwi farmers with water system solutions for over 50 years.